In high school, did people avoid you just because of how you looked? Suddenly, you're surrounded by beautiful girls. One's got massive personality, one's a manipulator, and one just keeps trying to seduce you in the club room. And if that ever happened to you, what would you do? That's exactly what our MC, Kodaka Hasegawa, is dealing with. Bro was a transfer student, and his first day at school was a total disaster. Disaster how? Well, he boarded the wrong bus, showed up late, exhausted, and somehow managed to look like he assaulted a teacher. And now everyone was terrified of him. But everything changed a month later when he noticed that something weird was going on at their school. So there's this girl, Yozora Mikazuki, and Kodaka noticed she was acting kinda strange. She was laughing, having a real convo, which was totally different from her usual quiet self. But things got really weird when Bro realized she was talking to literally no one. And when he tried to call her out on it, she started blushing because Kodaka had caught her in 4K. When he asked if she could see a ghost, she instantly denied it. With no other choice, she finally admitted she was talking to her air friend, Tomo-chan. And bro? He was confused as hell. Like, this girl is straight up Delulu. But she was actually dead serious, trying to explain everything, even though it all sounded totally made up. Well, at least she admits she kinda sucks at making friends. While the two of them were having their convo, Bro mentioned something that gave Yozora a really good idea. So the next day, she decided to start a club to fix their no friends status. It's not just any club though, it's the Neighbors Club, where the goal is to make actual friends instead of imaginary ones. So far, so weird. Until a literal blonde bombshell named Sena Kashiwazaki shows up and wants to join them. He's got the looks, the brains, and the boobs. It turns out being too perfect makes other girls avoid you like social leprosy. Sena wants a bestie, preferably one who won't objectify her or roast her. But Yozora? She's not having it. She calls her a milk bag, a literal cow milk. Sena fires back with flat chest. And despite all the chaos, they somehow end up in the same club, united by mutual loneliness and slightly unhinged energy. Kodaka watches as the two potential frenemies fight like it's their job, wondering how this mess counts as a club. Still, it's a start, and for once, he's not totally alone. And at this point, their friendship will only get weirder. One afternoon, Kodaka walks into the club room and sees Sena already there, acting like she runs the place. She tells him to stop calling her Kashiwazaki and use her first name instead, because using surnames makes them sound like strangers. Kodaka awkwardly agrees, and then Yozora strolls in, ready to start their first official club activity. And her big idea? Playing Monster Hunter on PSP. Yozora swears that teaming up for co-op hunts is the perfect way to bond. Trading materials, slaying monsters, and chatting mid-quest is peak friendship building in her book. Sena acts like the game is beneath her, but when they check save data, she's already Hunter rank 6. Yozora's Hunter rank is 3, Kodaka, Hunter rank 1, and still getting knocked out by Great Joggy. Funny thing is, the girl who barely touched the game racked up over 50 hours in a single weekend. Yep, she's been grinding off screen. But why? Well, you'll find out. Once the quest starts, Sena and Yozora immediately start griefing each other instead of focusing on the hunt. Sena knocks Yozora out cold with her greatsword, and not long after, Yozora gets revenge by accidentally shooting Sena into the river. They're too busy trolling each other to even focus on the quest. Meanwhile, Kodaka is off mining by himself and ends up getting bodied by a random monster. By the end, nobody finishes the hunt. Yozora says multiplayer was a waste of time. Sena agrees. Kodaka, being the only reasonable one, points out that they never even tried to work together. Later, Kodaka kept playing Monster Hunter solo. Then he overhears two classmates talking about it and tries to join the convo, but his creepy smile and weird timing make it feel more like a threat. The poor guys panic and give up their items on the spot. By the next day, rumors spread that Kodaka straight up forced his classmates to hand over their in-game materials. Then back at the club, Sena shows up hauling a massive plasma TV and PlayStation 3 console. She decides the next club activity will be Kirameki School Life 7, a dating sim she claims is perfect for practicing communication skills. Yozora doesn't object. Kodaka just quietly questions everything. They start the game, and Sena names the main character after herself. Yozora immediately changes it to something ridiculous. Semoponime. And the main character with the bad naming sense strikes. Anyway, Kodaka offers to use his name since the main character's a guy, but both girls reject that idea without hesitation. Once the game's rolling, things go off the rails fast. Every new girl that shows up gets side-eyed. Sena and Yozora instantly call out the pink-haired transfer student, Akari, as fake and manipulative before she even finishes her intro. Kodaka, meanwhile, is just trying to figure out what he's witnessing. But then, Yukiko appears, and surprisingly, she wins them over. Sena gets a little into it. She's lying on the floor, whispering about how girls are better than guys. Yozora doesn't even argue. Things were going surprisingly well. Yukiko was friendly, Sena was obsessed, and even Yozora didn't complain. But then, out of nowhere, Yukiko starts avoiding Semoponime. Kodaka checks the manual and finds out it's because they were too rude to Akari earlier. Bad rep equals bad root. He suggests apologizing. Sena refuses. Yozora backs her up. They both believe Yukiko will understand. She doesn't. Yukiko ends things. Sena is heartbroken. Yozora storms off, vowing to deal with Akari. Kodaka quietly walks home, wondering how things got this weird. The next day, Sena lends the game to Kodaka and insists he try every route. She's got dark circles under her eyes and says the game isn't just a game, it's life now. Kodaka has no idea what to say. Well, at least Sena made 7 new friends, but they're all in 2D. And her obsession with these types of games won't stop here. It's only going to get worse. Like, really worse. So, Kodaka walks into the club room and sees Sena completely locked in on her laptop, with headphones on. Yozora can't stand being ignored, so she yanks the cable. And suddenly, the room's blasted with moans straight out of an H scene. Sena panics. Yozora grabs her laptop, and Kodaka realizes, yep, she's playing an eroge. Basically, that's an R18 dating sim with plot, romance, and, a lot of very not safe for school content. And now there's no turning back. Sena was like, okay, hear me out, and immediately started coping. She explains that what they just heard was actually a masterpiece, full of deep storytelling and pure emotion. Yeah, that's what they all say. Yozora calls Cap and launches a full-on roast session. What did I tell you? And to prove the masterpiece she's yapping about, Yozora dares her to read a scene out loud. Sena tries to hold it together, but the scene is way too much. She crumbles halfway through, blushing, furious, and bolts out of the room. Kodaka just stares in silence as Yozora casually reveals she recorded the whole thing. I know, crazy!
Are you the devil?
Back at home, we finally meet Kobato, Kodaka's little sister, and she's deep in her grade school syndrome. She greets him like a vampire queen demanding a blood sacrifice. Kodaka just rolls with it and makes her dinner while she sips tomato juice out of a wine glass. Later, Kodaka explains that their dad's working overseas, so they're living alone now. He also mentions Kobato's obsession with some dark fantasy anime, which explains a lot. Back at school, Sena pulls Kodaka aside with an unexpected request. She wants him to teach her how to swim. At first, she plays it off like it's no big deal. But then she admits it's all because of a girl in her dating sim. One of the routes has a pool scene, and Sena feels like a total fraud pretending she knows how to swim when she doesn't IRL. Kodaka isn't sure what's crazier, the logic or the fact that she's dead serious. Still, he agrees to help. Sunday rolls around. They meet at the pool, and sure enough, Sena shows up in a tight swimsuit. Kodaka tries not to stare, fails a little, and starts the lesson. Surprisingly, she's a fast learner. Like, suspiciously fast for someone who's never learned. They're actually vibing for once, until she brings up her dad. Kodaka casually mentions he should probably say thanks to her dad in person, and when she hears that, she immediately jumps to conclusions and starts freaking out. But Kodaka calms her down when Bro explains he just wanted to meet her dad because he helped him get into the school and used to be friends with his father. Just when things start to chill, a group of guys approaches Sena near the pool and starts mouthing off. She claps back with her usual sass, but she's trembling. One of the guys winds up to hit her, and that's when Kodaka steps in, blocks the punch, grabs the dude's arm, and starts aura farming. Bro is low-key terrifying. The group freezes. They didn't expect that, and they backed off. Sena tries to laugh it off, acting cocky again. Thanks Kodaka like she's royalty, even jokes that he can lick her feet as a reward. But Bro is mad and calls her out, asks why she keeps doing this, says the clubroom is one thing, but out here, he can't always protect her. Sena's caught off guard. She argues, says it's none of his business, but Kodaka shuts it down. It is my business. And that hits. She blushes, goes quiet, and finally says she gets it. The bus ride home is different. It's quiet. She mumbles that it's the first time a guy's ever scolded her like that. She doesn't say much else, but yeah, something's clearly changed, and her feelings toward Kodaka just got a little more complicated. Well, the thing is, she ain't the only one. Later that night, Kodaka's just chilling in the clubroom while Yozora's off in the corner reading like usual. But for some reason, the whole day had him thinking about the past. Out of nowhere, this old memory hits him. Back when he was a kid, always getting into fights, always feeling like the weird one. There was this one time he was surrounded by some jerks, and someone actually stepped in to help him. A childhood friend. And not just any friend. This one had his back when no one else did. That friend once told him something that stuck. Just make one real friend who cares about you 100 times more. Without realizing it, Kodaka mumbles that line out loud. And that's when Yozora pauses. Doesn't say anything, doesn't look up, but she freezes for a sec. Like, maybe she remembered it too. She just keeps reading like nothing happened. Kodaka didn't bring it up. He just stared out the window, wondering what happened to that childhood friend. But wait, wasn't that Yozora all along? And Bro just thought she was a boy back when they were kids. Well, we'll find out soon. Now, back at school, Kodaka starts feeling like someone's tailing him. But before he can deal with that, he finds a literal child knocked out in the clubroom, wearing a nun's outfit. That's Maria. She's 10 years old, and somehow she's the advisor of the neighbors club. Or at least she was, before she realized that Yozora was manipulating her with fake Bible quotes, slapping her around, and guilt-tripping her into signing the paperwork. But Maria changed her mind in the end because Yozora maxed out her other skills. Gaslighting. While Maria's still processing that betrayal, Kodaka managed to find out his stalker. And it was this guy, Yukimura Kusunoki. Yep, he's a guy. And since Bro doesn't look like a bro, that's the reason he's been following Kodaka around. because he wants to learn how to act like a real man, to the point Yukimura starts glazing Kodaka. But Yozora saw this as an opportunity to get more members. So again, she used her manipulation skills and Yukimura instantly complied. But her manipulation didn't stop there. So the next day, Yukimura starts acting like an actual underling. Bro is serving Kodaka with lunch and even buying him a manga. Kodaka tried to stop him since the entire class was thinking the wrong thing again. So our MC followed him outside, and Bro saw Rika Shiguma in the science lab, passed out from sleeping gas she made herself. So he carries her to the nurse's office like a hero. In her head, that makes him her savior. She's instantly obsessed and wants to repay him with something called of equal value. But as she started yapping and even mentioned the word grape, Kodaka's whole class again got the wrong idea. Well, Rika ends up joining the neighbors club too. Just like that, the group adds another chaotic member with questionable social awareness and a brain full of scientific facts and hentai terminology. But her gooning is on a whole other level. This girl would probably bang a machine if she saw one. And she's really clingy to Kodaka, to the point that Yozora and Sena started acting really jealous. Oh, this whole thing is slowly starting to be a harem. I like it! Back at home, Kodaka was chatting with Kobato over dinner when he brought up Maria's awful eating habits, mainly her obsession with potato chips. Kobato wasn't impressed. She glanced at their own plain meal and slipped into her vampire persona, dramatically cursing Kodaka for hanging out with minions of the church. In short, she was definitely jealous. So jealous, in fact, that the next morning when she noticed her big bro had made a huge breakfast, she immediately got jealous. Part of it, he explained, was lunch. For Maria. In the moment he said that, Kobato froze and then stormed off without a word. Bro had no idea what just happened. Later, in the clubroom, Maria was already munching chips. When Kodaka called her out, she pointed to a drawer stuffed with them. Yozora had been giving her one every time she earned it, like she was training a pet or something. Kodaka gave her a proper lunch. At first, Maria got really sus, thinking he wanted something. But his reason was kinda sweet. He said she reminded him of a younger Kobato. That was enough to melt her. She started calling him Oni-chan. Not long after, Yozora mentioned that people were already gossiping about Kodaka eating lunch earlier than usual. Suddenly, Maria burst into the room, grabbed Kodaka's arm, and started hyping up his cooking, while roasting Yozora's chips and saying they tasted like shit. And at that, Yozora's eye twitched. Meanwhile, Sena randomly said she wanted to live in a video game. Yozora roasted her, but Rika casually pulled out a VR headset she helped beta test and asked if they wanted to try it. Of course, the whole club jumped on board. Character select time. Kodaka picked Wizard, which is basically a meme class that only gets good if you stay a virgin till 30. Rika picked Gunner. Sena went with Blacksmith, and immediately complained about her fan service outfit. Yozora chose Rose Girl, pissed at the design, but admitted the stats were OP. Yukimura went full samurai mode, and Maria picked Sister because, yeah, well, she's a nun. They spawned in and ran into their first enemies. Ugly little eel gobbies. Kodaka wanted to spare them, since they're literally harmless. But everyone else wiped them out with zero hesitation. If this were real life, Kodaka would already have PTSD. But Rika explains that defeating them is necessary to progress through the game. Eventually, they reached the Demon King's castle and fought the final boss, which was just a bigger, angrier Gobi. Rika's attack backfired, Sena got smacked, and when Kodaka called for healing, Maria was asleep on the couch IRL. Sena and Yozora had a combo planned, but Yozora bailed and Sena died. Then Yozora died too, thanks to Sena tickling her out of revenge. Rika and Yukimura went down next. Kodaka was the last one standing. He tried to use his ultimate skill, believe in tomorrow, but it was too late. Just when things seemed hopeless, Maria's character moved again, but they both got instantly bodied. Game over. Kodaka pulled off the headset and saw Maria still asleep on the couch. And that's when he realized it was Kobato who'd been playing all along. Sena freaked out about how cute she was, and Kodaka confirmed she was his little sister. Kobato admitted she felt ignored since Kodaka had been spending so much time with the club. As an apology, he promised to make her pork noodles every Sunday. Things started to calm down until Maria woke up and instantly clung to Kodaka again, calling him Oni-chan. Kobato snapped, yelled at him, and just like that, it's an all-out lolly battle. While they bickered, Rika casually asked if they should clean up. Kodaka agreed. As they packed the VR gear, he muttered the game felt kinda pointless. Sena blamed the game for not protecting her. Yozora said no one needed her anyway. The usual. Rika just laughed and said nothing's really changed, but admitted it was fun. It was her first time playing a game with friends. Kodaka quietly blushed. That night, he was fast asleep until Kobato crawled into bed beside him. Meanwhile, our boy was having a dream. Or more like a flashback. 10 years ago, little Kodaka had just found out from his dad that they were moving. At the playground, he told his best friend he had something important to say and asked him to come back the next day. Both of them made a promise. So, when the day came, Kodaka waited. Even when the sun went down, the sky turned orange like a tragic wallpaper background, but his besto friendo never showed up. And just like that, our boy left town without ever saying goodbye to his only friend. Back in the present, Kodaka wakes up and sees Kobato still sleeping beside him. Meanwhile, over at the neighbors' club, Yozora announces that the first trimester's almost over. Summer break starts tomorrow. But then she says something that silences the room. Has anyone actually made any friends yet? And everyone got quiet, like someone triggered a Windows XP error. Yep, zero progress. But, aren't they all already kind of friends? Kodaka's like, actually, I think I somehow lost social points after joining this club. Sena busts in like, girls are gossiping that I'm dating you. Bro says sorry, but Sena waves it off. Deep down, we all know she kinda likes it. Then Rika asks what kind of club activities they were even doing before she joined. Basically, just games. Then, out of nowhere, Sena casually asks if anyone's ever been to karaoke. Kodaka has, Yozora too. Sena's stunned. Yozora? Of all people? Somehow, she's hit up every karaoke box in the city. With her imaginary friend, Tomo. Meanwhile, Sena starts freaking out, cause girls never been to karaoke. Never touched the mic. Not once. You know, like a virgin. Touched for the very first time. Anyway, she admits it, then immediately starts coping by calling karaoke a vulgar peasant pastime she has zero interest in. Rika then admits she hasn't gone either. She says crowded places make her nervous. Yukimura jumps in too. First timer. And then, just like that, Kobato says she wants to come too. Sena hears all this and wants in, but Yozora isn't gonna let that slide after what she said earlier. If she really wants to come, she's gotta beg, with her whole heart. And somehow, Sena actually does it. Yozora finds it hilarious, but still says no. Sena flips, screams she's going no matter what, and drops like 6 insults in a row, then rage quits the club room. Meanwhile, at the Kashiwazaki mansion, Sena tells her butler she needs lunch early tomorrow. She's got plans. When asked if it's with friends, she gets all shy and says no. It's just people from the same club. But when she starts listing names, especially Kodaga's, her dad overhears and suddenly looks very interested. Next day, everyone meets at Toya Station. Kodaka and Kobato are the last to arrive. Once they reach their destination, Yozora comes in swinging those bucks. But the moment she sees the actual fee, she freezes. Girl starts doing mental math gymnastics and realizes the price is a scam. So she and Sena come up with something truly diabolical. Let's each get our own room and dodge the group rate. Rika guesses they're gonna sing in separate rooms, which kinda defeats the entire point of a club activity. So Kodaka just pulls out his wallet and pays the normal group rate, like a civilized human being. You could tell the cashier was genuinely thankful, while Yozora and Sena were already rethinking their entire strategy. Now the group split. Some were in shared rooms, others went solo. And surprise, surprise, Kodaka can sing! Like, actually sing! Dude's got pipes. Everyone's internally recalibrating how they feel about him. Later, Kodaka thinks about sneaking off to listen to Sena or Yozora sing, but ends up staying with his group. Which is kinda a shame because both girls were killing it. Even funnier, they both picked the same song at first. Later that afternoon, everyone comes out of their rooms, and there's Sena and Yozora already waiting outside, completely drained. Why? Because they spent the entire time battling it out for the highest karaoke score. Neither of them won, but they're still arguing over it. Honestly, if they just split the cost, they could have all sung together in one room. Problem solved. As they walk out, the gang are kinda sad that it's the end of the first trimester and they might not actually see each other for a while. But Yozora shuts that down immediately. This club is active during summer too. She explained that since the sports clubs do it, cultural clubs do it, and if they want to be popular someday, they better practice. Yozora wraps things up by telling everyone to meet again Monday and to think about why they still haven't made any friends. Sena cuts her off right away and says the answer is obvious. It's because Yozora is completely incompetent. And boom! Another insult match. Yozora claps back like a trained verbal assassin. So hard that people around them start staring. Sena turns bright red and runs off while shouting more insults. As the rest of the group heads home, Kodaka walks beside Yozora and thanks her for the fun month. Just then, Sena comes running back. She forgot something. She tells Kodaka she wants him to come over and meet her dad. Yozora's confused. Like, why would Sena's dad want to meet Kodaka? And bro almost explains, but stops himself. Sena jumps in and tells him to keep it secret. Some things are better left unsaid. Kodaka understands. After all, her dad is the one who helped him and Kobato into the school quietly. Probably not best to draw attention to how he got in. Yozora's still just standing there, processing. But Sena brushes her off, saying it's none of her business, and says goodbye. What a payback! And that moment, definitely not the last time Yozora feels something brewing between Sena and Kodaka. Now, our MC was all set to head out with his little sister Kobato. But little sis changed her mind when she noticed the intense heat of the summer sun. So, our boy heads to the club room solo, drenched in sweat and life regrets. Enter Yukimura, loyal as ever, holding a tray of what can only be described as cafeteria crimes. Kodaka says, "No thanks," and Yukimura takes this personally. Like samurai shame personally, to the point where bro was ready to commit Sudoku. Kodaka tries to talk him down, of course. And just then, Maria strolls in like a gremlin who smelled free food and goes, "Yo, can I have that?" Kodaka sees an opening and rolls with it, tells Yukimura, why not cook for her instead? Yukimura starts quoting Bushido nonsense, but Kodaka Jedi mind tricks him into accepting it by saying Maria is like his little sister. That instantly convinces Yukimura. But Kodaka notices the meal was definitely not ideal. Bro just picked it up from some random 7-Eleven. So Big Bro suggests something a little more healthy. Next day, new dawn, new disaster. Kodaka walks in, Yukimura's still there, and the rest of the gang is MIA. Yukimura greets him with a noble report. Maria has been fed. Properly. Healthily. But for Kodaka, this is sus, so Bro asks what exactly he fed her. And yeah, well, protein. A lot of protein. What's worse is, Yukimura even force-fed her. So Kodaka begs Yukimura that next time, just feed Maria something that won't destroy her kidneys. And, give her PTSD. And rain starts pouring outside like the universe agrees. Kodaka takes a nap and waits for his friends, who absolutely do not show up. Next day, finally, everyone drags themselves into the club room with the excuse, "Sorry, yesterday was hectic." Kodaka internally screams. They all agree they need a better communication system, and as everyone's figuring out what to use, Rika enters the chat like, phones? And Kodaka and Yozora started acting like primitive beings and call Rika an actual genius. Well, the two actually never used their phones in the first place. They have them, yeah, they just don't use them. So after some 20-minute email address exchange, Sena was acting pretty weird. When Kodaka tries to swap addresses with Sena, he finds out she doesn't own a phone. Why? Well, according to her, it's because she's built different. She doesn't need one. And Yozora, feeling spicy, calls Kodaka and starts talking about what they ate last night. On the call, she just keeps spamming meat, which, by the way, is the nickname she uses for Sena. And of course, Sena gets so pissed, she snatches Kodaka's phone and rage quits. Again! That night, Kodaka hears the phone ring. Confused, he walks out of his room and picks it up. And it's Sena, asking what kind of phone he uses. She asks for the brand and even the model. And once she gets what she wants, she hangs up. Next day, Rika starts sending messages so inappropriate, even Kodaka's brain needed holy water. We can't show this in a Christian anime. When Bro gets to the club room, Yukimura hands him tea, while Yozora sits there, spiritually drained. Girl cannot handle how perverted Rika is, and Yozora gets so mentally exhausted, she falls asleep and wakes up to find it's just her and Kodaka in the room. Well, not until Sena bursts in with a phone that's the exact same model and color as Kodaka's. Coincidence? I think not. She trades addresses with Kodaka like a normal human being. And when she tries to get Yozora's contact, Yozora says no, and pisses Sena off so badly she instantly bursts into tears. Again, and flees the room. Seconds later, Kodaka gets a message from her. "Give me Yozora's contact so I can spam her." Yozora sees this and asks our MC to give her Sena's info instead. Then she counter-spams her. Sena comes back crying that her phone is broken, and Yozora's just smirking. But when Sena asks Kodaka to help her fix it, Yozora's expression changes. Girl is jealous. Instead of interfering, she just quietly turns and leaves the room. Now back at home, Kodaka just got back from the store. And something's off. Why is it so hot inside? Well, surprise! The AC's busted. The repair guy says it'll be 3 full days before they can fix it. That means 3 full days of living in a sauna. And Kobato's already melting like an ice cream bar in August. At first, she refuses to change clothes, even though it's literally boiling, until she watches her favorite vampire anime. One transformation sequence later, she unveils her true form, aka a heatwave-approved outfit with 30% less fabric. And that's when little sis starts stripping, which we're absolutely not showing. We don't want to end up like Epstein. Cut to the club room. Maria crashes into Kodaka like a golden retriever and proudly announces that Yukimura's finally been feeding her right. With sushi and steak. Well, he better be, because according to Maria, last time he tried giving her those protein shakes, she swore to the law and she'd cut off his pee-pee. I know, it sounds like this girl is definitely not reading the Bible. But Maria's clingy energy is not exactly Kobato approved. So the Battle of the Lowly sequel begins. And somehow, in the heat of the battle, Kobato bites Maria. Maria starts panicking when Kobato explains that vampire bites equals to eternal minion contract. Yozora, being the devil she is, tells Maria the only way to break the curse is to strip down and sunbathe. And Maria believes her. Maria actually does it. But some other sisters saw her, and honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen to poor old Maria. Later on, Sena catches a brutal L in one of her games. Why? Because Yozora jinxed it by saying it would only be a god-tier game if there were sharks in the pool. Sure enough, guess what pops up? Sharks. Bad ending unlocked. Sena crashes out and goes, "We should just hit the pool," and everyone's in. Even Yozora agrees, calls it a club activity. Next day, the squad rolls out to the pool. But the moment they hop on the bus, Yozora and Rika are already looking queasy. Meanwhile, Kobato's over there suffocating on something massive. When they finally get there, it's packed. Turns out, there's a 50% summer discount, and half the town showed up. Yozora's already regretting every life decision that led her here. Everyone suits up. Kodaka's visibly uncomfortable, especially when Sena spots Yukimura in a women's swimsuit. Why? Because the queen of gaslighting herself, Yozora, told Yukimura it was proof of true manliness. And to be fair, Yukimura did bring a backup outfit. It was a loincloth. Kodaka begged him just to wear the swimsuit. Mercifully, he agreed. They hit the water, but it's so crowded, no one can really swim. Kodaka ends up reminiscing with Sena about the last time they went to the pool. He reminds her how she got mad, and bro's still trying to figure out why. Like, if she was so pissed, why did she still thank him? And Sena hits that dodge button like she's playing Elden Ring blindfolded, and says she's gonna go check on Yozora and Rika. Kodaka watches her walk off and thinks, she seemed kinda nervous. Yeah, things were simpler back then. But now, they've all changed. When Sena finally comes back, she quickly hands Kodaka her phone. It's a message from Yozora. She and Rika are already gone. She rushes out, hoping to catch them, but only sees the bus driving away. Bro sighs. Some things never change. The rest of the crew decides to pack up too. And today's activity tally? Big Fat 0. The last activity flopped harder than a mobile game ad. The next day, Yozora announces the gang's next club plan. Bring your swimsuits, it's time for Swimsuit Day! So Kodaka, Sena, and Kobato show up, mentally prepared for whatever weird idea Yozora has cooked up this time, until they walked in and find Yozora transformed into an Uma Musume, but like the bootleg version. Kobato, who's way too anime-pilled, immediately screams and calls her Astaroth, the necromancer villain from her favorite show. Yozora ignores the lore dump and explains the real reason for Swimsuit Day. She bought a swimsuit and didn't want it to go to waste. Meanwhile, Rika starts acting feral. Girl climbs into the table and tries to show off her swimsuit to Kodaka. He reacts with the same energy you give to a spam email. Blocked and reported. Then Maria barges in, only to get immediately traumatized by horse Zora. And of course, this escalates into another Kobato versus Maria smackdown. Round 3. Ding ding! Sena, still salty about how crowded the public pool was, proposes a better idea. Let's just hit up her family's private beach. We should have said that in the first place. Anyway, she calls it a training camp. And of course, everyone agrees. Fast forward to Sena's mansion. Sena invites Kodaka and Kobato over for dinner because, remember, her dad wants to meet him. And the moment they step in, they're greeted by Tenma Kashiwazaki himself, aka Pegasus. Which, by the way, he really doesn't want you to call him that. But we're calling him that anyway. Also, there with him is his terror of a maid, Stella. Dinner surprisingly starts off smooth. Pegasus actually seems to like Kodaka. As they eat, we get a bit of lore. Turns out Pegasus and Kodaka's dad were old friends. Pegasus also starts noticing something. His daughter is acting a little strange around Kodaka. At some point, Kodaka hands over a small gift. Some rare spice that's spicy, salty, and shockingly good. Even Kobato liked it. And when Sena and Pegasus tried it, they were instantly hooked. Turns out, this spice is something Kodaka's dad used to collect. Dude traveled all over Japan just to find this stuff. Then everything was going fine. Until Tenma casually mentions that Kodaka's dad was kind of a loser. Our bro starts to get slightly pissed, but immediately pulls back. Mr. Pegasus meant no offense, and Kodaka gets that. They cool off. Then Tenma offers to let them stay over since it's pretty late, and the buses don't run at this hour. And since Kobato had already passed out at the dining table, bro had no choice. Later that night, Kobato wakes up a bit and wants to take a bath, so Sena takes her. And we all know something bad is about to happen. But we'll get into that later. First, Pegasus asks Kodaka to drink with him. Don't worry, he's got wine for himself and just gives Kodaka some grape juice. For a few minutes, it's chill. Until Pegasus gets absolutely hammered and instantly passes out on Kodaka's bed. Then, just as Kodaka's trying to figure out what dimension he's in, he finds something even more insane. Bro stumbles across a crying Kobato and a completely naked Sena. Cue panic.exe. Sena, so freaked out, starts calling Kodaka all sorts of things. Pervert, creep, the whole package. And so embarrassed, she sprints straight out of the mansion. Stella, having seen everything, just smirks and calls Kodaka a pervert too. But she's clearly just teasing. So, our MC explains that Mr. Pegasus has passed out in his bed, and now Bro's looking for somewhere else to sleep. But Stella just scoops up Kobato, says they'll sleep in the servants' quarters, and since she likes to sleep naked, Bro has no choice but to share a room with Tenma. Now lying next to a passed-out Pegasus, Kodaka stares at the ceiling and wonders, will I ever have a friend like this? Next morning, the siblings are about to leave the mansion and thank Sena and Pegasus. But then, Sena casually suggests that she and Kobato should take a bath together next time. And Kobato's like, but shut him out! Whatever happened in that bathroom must have seriously traumatized the poor kid. Then Sena starts asking Kodaka about what he saw last night, and Bro starts pretending he's got amnesia, since he can remember because Daddy P accidentally gave him some wine. Bro is a smooth liar, so Sena believes him, and quickly desponds. Then, out of nowhere, Pegasus starts begging Kodaka to take care of his daughter. Kodaka agrees, says of course he will, and calls him Pegasus-san, just to troll. Tenma pretends to be mad, but he's not. On the bus ride home, Yozora sends him a message, updating him on the next club schedule. Kodaka replies, and she's relieved. When the gang finally arrives at Sena's family's private beach, they end up experiencing something so horrifying, it nearly breaks the group's collective sanity. After riding 2 trains and hiking for what felt like a side quest, the Neighbors Club finally makes it to their next club activity, Sena's summer mansion, aka training camp. They dump their luggage, change into their swimsuits, and then, as tradition demands, run out screaming, "It's the beach!" But since the gang is made up of people who've never touched grass, and a couple of certified gooners, no one really pulls it off. Probably because they're either too awkward, too shy, or too socially broken. Anyways, to the spicy part. Kodaka's just out here doing his big brother duties, helping Kobato apply sunscreen like a responsible bro, until Maria and Yukimura also ask if he can rub some on them too. And well, since our MC is basically kindness incarnate, of course he agrees. But while they're waiting, Yukimura starts applying sunscreen on Kodaka's back instead. And of course, Rika sees this and immediately makes it weird and starts gooning on the spot. Meanwhile, Sena really wants Kodaka to apply some on her too, but she gets shy. You know, feelings and stuff. So she awkwardly asks Yozora instead. And Yozora, without hesitation, applied sunscreen on her with her bare foot.
Oh, no.
And by the time Sena realizes what's happening, it's too late. She can't stand up, and Yozora starts teasing her in the most explicit, borderline demon tier way possible. Eventually, Sena fights back and manages to overpower her, but totally forgets that she's topless. Like, chest out, full frontal flashbang.
Oh, no.
And of course, she rage quits the entire scene screaming insults at Yozora. Fast forward. Kodaka, the only one in the club who can cook, goes looking for ingredients and finds Sena sulking on the terrace. When he walks up, she looks at him and quietly asks, "Did you see it?" Kodaka, the legend that he is, pretends he was 100% focused on Kobato the whole time. We all know he saw it, but he's too much of a gentleman to say it. Sena buys it, sparkles like a Disney princess, and heads back inside. Well played, brother! Next day, the gang keeps enjoying their beach time club activities. Everyone's out soaking in the sun, except Yozora and Rika, who stay inside. Later, Kodaka hits the marina to pick up seafood for dinner. While he's cooking, again, Yozora walks in and casually trauma dumps about how depressing home econ class was. Then it's dinner time. Everyone loves Kodaka's cooking. Anyways, night falls. And this is when things get very dramatic. Rika, being Rika, suggests they tell ghost stories and then do a test of courage. Half the stories are straight garbage. Even bro Kodaka didn't cook on this one. Except Yozora. And her story is really disturbing. It goes like this. There was a girl. We'll call her A. She was best friends with another girl, Y. At their school, there was this ghost story about a spirit named Yamiko-san. They say she'll possess anyone who betrays their friends and, kill them. One day, A betrays Y over a boy, and Y didn't take it well, so she, yeeted herself. After that, A started seeing things, weird things, until one day, she vanished. Just like that. No one ever saw her again. And the moment Yozora finishes the story, the candle goes out. Everyone screams. They're all so shook, they instantly cancel the whole test of courage idea like it never existed. Later that night, everyone's in their rooms. Kodaka's lying in bed, thinking. Not scared of the story, but of that friend betrayal part. Bro's starting to feel like maybe he did betray a certain childhood friend. Then, creak. He notices something at the door. Bro gets spooked for a second and even tries to hide under his blanket. But nope, it's just Sena sneaking into the boys' room to ask him to go to the bathroom with her. And then Kobato and Maria show up too. Because why not? Everyone needs a bathroom buddy now. Even Rika shows up. Though she wasn't there to pee, she was trying to initiate a quickie. Girl needs a straitjacket. She is not safe for society. After all that, Kodaka himself finally gets up to go. And guess who's there? Yozora. Turns out, even she got spooked by her own story. They go together, and after doing their business, Yozora asks if Kodaka was scared. He denies it, but then says, "It's wrong to betray your friends." Yozora agrees, and the two of them watch the sunrise in silence. And just like they said, nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday. Kodaka has yet another dream about his childhood friend. But for some reason, Bro still can't remember his friend's name. Later in the club, Yozora mentions she saw a festival being set up at the shrine. Lanterns, food stalls, the usual Japanese festival stuff. Hearing that, Sena asks if she's inviting the club, but Yozora immediately shuts it down, says she hates crowds. Rika chimes in to agree. She shares that she once tried to go to a doujinshi convention, but the train was so packed, she gave up halfway through. Still, she got her doujinshi by helping hentai game devs. Priorities, ladies and gents! Still on the topic, Sena asks if the festival will have takoyaki. Kodaka says, yeah. And that's when Bro starts preaching takoyaki, saying there was this one takoyaki that was so good, it practically saved his life during his time in Osaka. Yeah, Bro got emotional through octopus balls. But Kodaka gets so intense that somehow everyone in the room is now craving takoyaki. Kobato and Maria immediately start fighting over it. Yukimura pledges allegiance to Kodaka. As always, loyalty stat maxed. Yozora and Rika admit they want some too. Just like that, plans to go to the festival are locked in. The next day, everyone shows up as promised. Kodaka compliments Rika's look. She actually dressed up. Before they leave, Yozora tries to sneak off without Sena. Too bad Sena shows up right on time. Clearly not happy. Kodaka gets rizzed by her outfit, and Yozora notices, then bonks him on the head. With that, they finally head out. On the way to the shrine, Sena notices Kobato isn't wearing a yukata, and it's obvious that she also wants to wear one. Luckily, Rika spots a yukata rental shop nearby. Kodaka and Kobato go rent one. Yozora isn't wearing one either, but she refuses to join in, even after Sena and Kodaka say she'd look good in it. After changing, Sena gushes over Kobato's cuteness, then turns to Kodaka and roasts him, saying his hair ruins his whole look. Tells him to dye it black. Kodaka says he's thought about it, but he just can't. His blonde hair is the only thing left from his late mother. That hits Sena differently. She softens and said that Kodaka is totally different from the other guys. Later at the festival, the group enjoys eating together. Yukimura gives Kodaka some takoyaki, but Aniki got possessed by Gordon Ramsay and Bro is disappointed. It's just not good enough. He says he wants to go find better ones, but no one else seems interested. They're already full. Yozora and Rika say they've had enough and are ready to head home. But Sena, still hyped up, challenges Yozora to play some festival games. The two start a 1-versus-1 match. It's loud, competitive, and probably annoying all the vendors. Meanwhile, the rest of the group walks around. Rika dominates a shooting game and wins a gaming console. She offers it to Kodaka, clearly hoping to impress him. Kodaka suggests adding it to the club room. Rika looks quietly disappointed. Back at the booths, Yozora and Sena finally wrap up their competition, but almost instantly started arguing over who actually won. Kodaka cuts in and tells them to knock it off and meet back with the group. His night settles in. They wait for Stella outside the shrine. To pass time, the club brings out some fireworks. They save the biggest one for last. Yozora calls it the last boss. At first, it seems like a dud, and then it bursts into a stunning finale. Then in an instant, everything goes wrong. A spark lands on Yozora's hair and sets it on fire. Kodaka reacts fast and dumps a bucket of ash-filled water over her to put it out. Girl is absolutely drenched. Soaked, silent, and stunned, she just stands there. Then, without a word, she says she's leaving and walks away. After that, Yozora doesn't show up to the club for the rest of the week. Then comes September 1st, first day of school after summer break. The teacher is calling roll. Yozora's name is mentioned. Just then, she responds and walks in with a completely new look. She is gorgeous. The room goes silent as she walks past the desks. When she passes by Kodaka, he stares at her, recognizing something, and quietly says, Sora. Yep, that was the name he kept calling his childhood friend. Yozora, tearing up, says, It's been a long time, Taka. And that was their first meeting in 10 years. Kodaka finally puts 2 and 2 together. And yep, Yozora is actually Sora. Childhood bestie, long-lost partner in crime. The one that got away, but like, in elementary school. Yozora, meanwhile, has been living her best smug life, thinking this was their dramatic reunion after 10 years apart. She's been keeping the secret, waiting for him to crack the code like it's a side quest or something. So, let's go back to the very beginning. The day Kodaka transferred, but this time, it's all from Yozora's point of view. Bro bursts into the classroom like a walking red flag. Yozora instantly realizes it's him. Little Taka, the only BFF she ever had. But she doesn't say anything at first. That doesn't mean she's not scheming in the background. Fast forward a month. Yozora is still salty that Kodaka hasn't figured it out. She vents to her air friend Tomo like a true queen of delusion. And it's hilarious because this is the exact moment when Kodaka walks in and sees her talking to literally no one, completely unaware he's the topic of the convo. And that's their first conversation in 10 years. History is being made. Absolute cinema. Later, after bonding over their mutual inability to make friends, Yozora pitches the idea of starting a club. Not for everyone, just her and Kodaka. She marches over to the school chapel, politely asks the resident tiny gremlin Maria if they can use the lounge, gets rejected, and we all know what happened after that. Gaslighting and child abuse. Next day, Yozora drags Kodaka into the club room like it's a hostage situation and declares their club's mission: to make friends. Time passes, more gremlins join in, friendships form, bonds deepen. The rest is history. Back in the now, Kodaka's staring at Yozora like he just unlocked a core memory, while she's crying anime tears of nostalgia. And by the way, this goes on for like 10 minutes and the teacher finally starts calling out Kodaka to snap out of it. Class ends. Kodaka walks up to Yozora and deadpan asks about her hair. She tells him it's his fault for lighting her up like a firework at the summer festival. Kodaka apologizes, and the whole class misreads the conversation. I don't know what kind of fantasies are running through their heads, but those kids need therapy. Yozora yanks him out of there like she's about to throw hands, but instead corners him on the stairs and hits him with the real question. What does he actually think about all this? About her being Sora? Kodaka says he was just surprised. Bro was stunned. Yozora isn't satisfied, obviously, but when he compliments her new haircut, she's caught off guard, like, actually blushing. They walk together to the chapel. Kodaka asks if she really recognized him that first day. She's like, duh, that hair? Unmistakable. But she pretended not to know him because it would have been cringe if she remembered him, but he didn't remember her. Kodaka apologizes again. Dude's just built that way. Then Kodaka admits he always thought Yozora was a boy. Yozora clowns him immediately. She never said she was a boy. And the one time she tried to prove otherwise by showing up in a skirt, she got embarrassed and couldn't say anything. They both agreed to keep their shared past a secret from the rest of the club. Before they split, Kodaka asks what he should call her now. Yozora turns her head and quietly says to just call her by your actual name. Not Sora. Just Yozora. Because nicknames are for friends. Damn, here I thought bro will finally call her baby. Back in the club room, nobody recognizes her. Rika legit thinks she's some hot guy in a skirt. Girl starts throwing out guesses like it's a game show, and she's losing hard. 0 out of 10. The only person who clocks her out immediately was Sena, who starts teasing her about probably getting rejected. That's why she got the haircut, right? Yozora bongs her with a fly swatter. No words, just violence. Then Rika has a light bulb moment. She goes out, grabs this white coat, and forces Yozora to wear it. And when she does, Kodaka gets rizzed by her drip. Then Maria shows up and thinks Yozora is a hot guy. Immediately panics because the other sisters told her hot guys are dangerous and will eat her or something. Honestly, I don't know what kind of Sunday school survival training they're teaching at this girl, but that definitely ain't in the Bible. After all the usual shenanigans die down, Yozora gathers everyone and announces the club starting fresh for the new term. Now the question is, will they actually find new friends? Or is this club about to turn into something way messier than friendship? And what about you? Do you want to see season 2? Just let us know in the comments. See you next time!